Have you ever sat in stillness, eyes closed, and listened not to the world around you, but to the world within? That quiet rhythm of breath, the gentle echo of thought, the steady pulse of being? Long before the modern world gave this stillness a name, long before laboratories mapped brainwaves and apps guided breathing, humanity had already begun to listen. Let us journey back slowly, gently through the sands of time, to the origins of meditation. In the heart of the Indian subcontinent, where sacred rivers wind through fertile plains and stories are passed down in verse, the roots of meditation reach deep into the soil of ancient thought. The earliest known references come from the Vedas, texts over 3,000 years old. Though not yet meditation, as we understand it, these hymns offered chants, mantras, and invocations tools to quiet the mind and draw closer to the divine. By the time of the Upanishads composed, around 800 to 500 BC, meditation had evolved. These scriptures whispered of something profound, that by turning inward, one could glimpse Brahman, the ultimate reality. Through contemplation, breath control, and focused awareness, the practitioner sought not to escape the world, but to realize that the self was, in truth, one with the infinite. It was here that dhyana was born, a Sanskrit term meaning meditative absorption. In later centuries, dhyana would travel across Asia and become known as Chan in China, Sian in Korea, and Zen in Japan. In ancient India, meditation was not just a practice. It was a pathway of being. Monks and renunciants, wandering through forests and mountains, practiced yoga not merely as movement, but as inward discipline. Meditation was their torch in the dark, their compass in the wilderness of the soul. To the east, across high peaks and winding rivers, ancient China nurtured its own quiet revolution of the spirit. Here, too, stillness was sacred. But the language of meditation was shaped not by unity with Brahman, but by harmony with the Tao, the ineffable flow of existence. In the 4th century BCE, the philosopher Zhuangzi wrote of the fasting of the mind, a gentle release of desires and attachments. Do not listen with your ears, he said, but with your mind. Do not listen with your mind, but with your spirit. This was Taoist meditation, intuitive, natural, and empty. Practitioners sat in quiet places, letting go of striving. They meditated on the breath, the flow of qi, the cycles of nature. One practice, Zhuoang, meant sitting in forgetfulness. Not forgetting the world, but forgetting the ego, becoming as still as a pond, so that the Tao might be reflected clearly upon its surface. Meanwhile, the rise of Confucianism offered a different kind of inner discipline, one rooted in ethical reflection and moral clarity. And as Buddhism entered China from India during the Han Dynasty, a beautiful synthesis began to unfold. The Indian dhyana merged with Chinese insight to give birth to Chan Buddhism, a meditation tradition that would deeply influence East Asia. In China, meditation was not merely for monks. Farmers paused to breathe beneath peach blossoms. Scholars closed their eyes beside ink-stained desks. Even emperors sought guidance from those who had found stillness amidst the storm. Further west, on the shores of the Aegean Sea, the ancient Greeks cultivated a different kind of mindfulness. To the philosophers of Athens, self-knowledge was the highest pursuit. The famous maxim, carved into the temple of Apollo at Delphi, read, "Know thyself." Pythagoras, often remembered for his mathematical theorem, lived as a mystic. He taught his followers to rise before dawn, sit in silence, and reflect on their actions, what they had done, said, and thought. This daily inward gaze was not unlike modern mindfulness. Plato spoke of turning the soul inward, away from illusion, to perceive the eternal forms. Socrates practiced inner dialogue, questioning assumptions and silencing false knowledge. For the Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, the meditative practice took a more pragmatic form. In daily journals and nightly reflections, they sought to remain grounded in the face of suffering. detached from impulse and anchored in reason. Their version of meditation was not passive withdrawal, but active awareness, the discipline of presence. Though they lacked a formal word for meditation, the Greeks practiced it nonetheless in quiet walks beneath starlit skies, in philosophical dialogues, and in the stillness of contemplation. And in the land of pyramids and sun gods, where death and rebirth were written into the stars, meditation found yet another form. The Egyptian priests, guardians of sacred knowledge, were believed to have practiced deep concentration and ritual visualization. Within the temples of Karnak and Luxor, amidst chants and sacred geometry, they engaged in meditative rites to commune with the gods. The Book of the Dead, a funerary guide for the soul's journey, reveals a deep spiritual psychology. It describes how one must pass through tests, dissolve fear, and remember their divine essence. Though couched in myth, these rites mirror the inner journeys of meditation facing the self, releasing the ego, and awakening to truth. Scholars suggest that Hakao sacred words or mantras were used much like Buddhist chants to focus the mind and attune to cosmic frequencies. Meditation in Egypt was not separate from life. It was woven into music, art, medicine, and architecture. Every pillar, every carving, was designed to reflect the order of the cosmos, drawing the viewer into quiet reverence. Though thousands of miles and millennia apart, each ancient civilization arrived, through its own path, at the same truth. That stillness heals. That silence teaches. That beneath the surface of the mind lies something vast, compassionate, and awake. Whether in the forests of India, the gardens of China, the forums of Greece, or the temples of Egypt, human beings turned inward, not to escape life, but to meet it fully. And though their languages differed, their practices varied, the breath was the same. The breath that moves through a monk in Benares is the same that fills a philosopher in Athens, a hermit on Mount Wudang, a priest beside the Nile. It is the breath we each carry now, right now. The journey through time shows us that meditation is not new. It is not a trend. It is the inheritance of humanity, a thread that connects us across centuries. But what does science say about these practices? In the next chapter, we'll explore the modern understanding of mindfulness, how it reshapes the brain, lowers stress, and brings the ancient promise of peace into the present. So take a breath. And when you're ready, we'll continue. We have journeyed through ancient temples and moonlit courtyards, traced the roots of meditation across sacred texts and whispered traditions. But now, let us step softly into the present, into the quiet halls of modern science. For even here, where logic reigns and silence is measured by machines, we find a profound affirmation. Stillness is medicine. Before brain scans and journals, before terminology like prefrontal cortex or neuroplasticity, humans already knew how to listen inward. Today, we call it mindfulness, the gentle art of paying attention, not just to our thoughts, but to our breath, our sensations, our emotions, moment by moment, without judgment. It is not a technique of effort, but a return to this moment, as it is. When you sit quietly and follow the rise and fall of your breath, when you notice the warmth of a cup in your hands, when you feel sorrow fully without pushing it away, you are practicing mindfulness. Science has given this ancient wisdom new vocabulary, and with it, new ways to understand how and why it heals. Imagine the brain not as a fixed organ, but as a river ever-flowing, ever-changing. Through the lens of neuroscience, we now understand that meditation shapes this river's course. Studies using functional MRI have revealed that regular meditation activates and strengthens key areas of the brain. The prefrontal cortex, associated with decision-making, focus, and emotional regulation, grows thicker and more active. The anterior cingulate cortex, which helps in managing attention and resolving conflict, shows improved function. The insula, a region linked to self-awareness and empathy, becomes more engaged. And perhaps most remarkable, the amygdala, our brain's alarm center, involved in fear and stress, shrinks in long-term meditators. Its activity decreases, even in high-stress situations. This means that mindfulness not only improves our ability to focus, it changes the very structure of how we respond to the world. In the ancient language of the yogis, the mind becomes like a still lake. In modern terms, they rewire the brain for calm. In our fast-paced world, stress is often invisible, like a hum beneath the surface. Yet it affects everything: our sleep, digestion, immunity, and relationships. Mindfulness offers a gentle remedy. When we engage in meditation, the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest branch, takes the lead. Heart rate slows. Blood pressure drops. Muscles release. The body exits the fight or flight state and enters a state of restoration. One of the most profound changes occurs with the hormone cortisol, often called the stress hormone. High levels of cortisol are linked to anxiety, weight gain, fatigue, and inflammation. Regular meditation has been shown to lower cortisol levels naturally and effectively. In studies, participants in mindfulness-based stress reduction programs developed by Dr. John Kabat-Zinn experienced dramatic reductions in stress symptoms, often after just 8 weeks. Inflammatory markers in the body also decrease, offering protection against chronic illness. Even the telomeres, the protective caps on our DNA, appear to stabilize and lengthen with mindfulness, potentially slowing biological aging. Ancient sages said that meditation brings longevity. Modern science is beginning to agree. Beyond biology, meditation transforms the emotional landscape. When practiced consistently, mindfulness allows us to witness emotions without being consumed by them. Anger softens. Sadness flows without anchoring us in despair. Joy becomes more vivid, more available. In a study from the University of Wisconsin, experienced meditators showed significantly greater emotional resilience. They recovered from negative experiences more quickly and showed stronger activity in the left prefrontal cortex, a region linked to positive mood. In therapeutic settings, mindfulness has become a central component of treatment for depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, addiction recovery. Patients learn to observe their inner experiences with compassion, to see thoughts as passing clouds, not defining truths, to bring curiosity where once there was judgment. This is not avoidance. It is courage. The courage to sit with what is and offer it the balm of awareness. Modern life fragments our attention. Notifications, worries, tasks, and endless screens pull us in 1,000 directions. Our minds wander constantly. Some studies suggest nearly 47% of our waking hours are spent thinking about something other than what we're doing. Meditation offers a return, a single breath, a single point of focus. In neuroscience, this is linked to changes in the default mode network, a collection of brain regions active when the mind is idling or ruminating. Overactivity in the DMN is associated with anxiety, depression, and decreased focus. Mindfulness quietens this network. It strengthens the task-positive network, allowing us to stay present in our work, our conversations, our lives. Even brief, daily sessions of 10 to 20 minutes can lead to improved concentration, better working memory, and reduced mental fatigue. In ancient monasteries, monks spent years training their minds. Today, you can begin with a breath. Pain is part of life. But suffering, the way we respond to pain, can be transformed. Studies have shown that mindfulness affects how the brain processes pain. In MMRI scans, meditators reported lower subjective pain, even when brain activity suggested otherwise. Their perception of pain was less personal, less reactive. One study from Wake Forest University found that meditation reduced pain perception by up to 40%, more than morphine in some cases. This is not denial of pain. It is changing our relationship to it. By observing sensations without resistance, we create space, and in that space, we find grace. Beyond mindfulness of breath or body, science has also explored the power of compassion-based practices, like loving kindness meditation. In these sessions, the practitioner silently repeats phrases like, "May I be happy," "May you be safe," "May all beings live with ease." Over time, these phrases reshape emotional wiring. In studies, loving kindness meditation increased positive emotions, improved social connection, and even reduced bias toward others. It activates brain regions associated with empathy, such as the temporoparietal junction and medial prefrontal cortex. And in children, compassion-based programs led to improved behavior and reduced aggression. The science is clear. Kindness is not a weakness. It is a trainable strength. The emerging field of psychoneuroimmunology shows us that the mind and body are not separate. What we think, feel, and believe changes how our immune system functions. Mindfulness enhances immune responses, reduces markers of inflammation, and improves outcomes for conditions ranging from cancer recovery to irritable bowel syndrome. In schools, it helps children regulate emotion and improve performance. In prisons, it brings peace to those in turmoil. In hospitals, it helps patients find stillness in uncertainty. And in ordinary homes, it brings the extraordinary gift of presence. For centuries, meditation was seen as spiritual, mysterious, or esoteric, but science has not diminished its wonder. It has simply given us a new way to see. And perhaps, as we glimpse the neurons firing, the hormones shifting, the healing occurring, we are not moving away from the sacred, but toward it. In the Upanishads, it is said, "As large as the universe outside is the universe within." Science is beginning to agree. So now we know. Meditation is not myth. It is not mystery. It is medicine. Measurable, observable, and real. But how do we carry this into our lives? In the next chapter, we'll explore how modern techniques like MBSR, breathwork, and loving kindness can become part of your day, part of your healing. Until then, breathe. Let silence be your guide. In the ancient world, meditation belonged to sages, monks, mystics, but today it is for all of us. It no longer requires a robe or a temple, only a moment, and the willingness to return to it. Let us explore how the stillness of the past now lives within the rhythm of modern life, how ancient practices are reimagined, revived, and rooted in the very pace and pulse of our times. Modern life moves quickly. Deadlines loom. Notifications ping. We're pulled in many directions, often all at once. And yet, amidst this rapid motion, meditation offers an anchor. It reminds us that we do not have to run at the speed of our surroundings. We can slow down. We can listen inward. We can choose presence. That is the invitation of modern meditation, not to escape the world, but to meet it with new clarity. In the late 1970s, a man named Dr. John Kabat-Zinn brought a new form of meditation to the Western world, not through religion, but through science. At the University of Massachusetts Medical School, he developed mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR. It was simple, secular, practical. Patients with chronic pain, anxiety, and illness were taught how to sit with their breath, how to observe their thoughts, how to bring gentle awareness to each passing moment. Week by week, they learned to befriend discomfort, not to fight their suffering, but to see it, to breathe through it. Over time, the results were profound. Pain decreased. Emotional resilience grew. People who had once felt helpless began to feel empowered. Today, MBSR is used in hospitals, clinics, schools, and workplaces across the world. It has helped tens of thousands, not just to cope, but to heal. Another branch of modern meditation focuses not just on awareness, but on love. It is called loving kindness meditation, or metta. The practice is simple, yet powerful. You begin by offering kindness to yourself. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I live with ease. Then you extend this same wish outward to a loved one, a stranger, even to someone you struggle with. Finally, to all beings everywhere. This gentle repetition transforms the heart. In scientific studies, loving kindness has been shown to increase positive emotion, reduce anger and resentment, strengthen empathy and social connection, even soften feelings of loneliness. It is a practice of radical tenderness in a world that often feels sharp. In classrooms, children whisper kindness to one another. In prisons, inmates offer forgiveness to those they've hurt. In offices, workers pause to breathe love into their emails, their meetings, their days. Compassion becomes not an idea, but a daily ritual. Meditation has become a vital tool in modern psychology. From cognitive behavioral therapists to trauma specialists, mindfulness is now part of the language of healing. Programs like MBCT, Mindfulness-Based Cognitive Therapy, DBT, Dialectical Behavior Therapy, ACT, Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, all integrate meditation to help individuals face their thoughts without being ruled by them. For those struggling with depression, mindfulness brings a way out of the spiral. For those living with anxiety, it offers breath where once there was tightness. For those healing from trauma, it gently reclaims the body as a safe place. Therapists are no longer just exploring the mind. They are helping people come home to themselves. In classrooms across the world, the sound of a bell now signals more than just the end of class. It invites silence, stillness, reflection. Mindfulness programs in schools teach children to notice their breath, name their emotions, pause before reacting, show empathy to others. In studies, students who meditate show improved attention, lower stress, better emotional regulation, decreased bullying and conflict. Some schools begin each day with 3 minutes of quiet breathing. Others use mindful moments between lessons. Even 5-year-olds are learning the power of pause. Meditation in education is not about discipline. It's about nurture. It gives children tools they will carry for a lifetime. For healthcare workers, meditation has become a lifeline. In environments filled with suffering and urgency, it offers a way to stay grounded and compassionate. Doctors and nurses now use mindfulness to manage burnout. Patients in recovery rooms are taught breathing exercises to ease fear. Meditation is used before surgery to reduce anxiety, after chemotherapy to restore peace during childbirth, to embrace the process with calm awareness. Hospitals across the globe now include meditation spaces. Silence is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. In moments of great uncertainty, meditation becomes a steady hand. Even in the world of business, meditation is reshaping how we work. Major companies like Google, General Mills, Intel, and Aetna have integrated mindfulness into their culture. Why? Because a mindful employee is more focused, less reactive, more creative, more connected to purpose. Programs like Search Inside Yourself at Google teach emotional intelligence through meditation. Executives take retreats not to plan, but to pause. Emails are written more mindfully. Meetings begin with silence. Decisions are made with greater clarity. The modern workplace, once frantic and impersonal, is learning how to breathe. Meditation does not require a cushion or incense. It can be found in washing dishes with full presence, savoring a sip of tea without distraction, taking a single, conscious breath in traffic, listening, truly listening to a loved one. Mindfulness lives in the ordinary. It is not about clearing the mind. It is about returning to this moment, again and again, with kindness. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world earth revolves. Everyday meditation is not a separate task. It is the texture of life made sacred. For those who wish to begin, here are a few practices, simple, gentle, and profoundly effective. 1. Breath awareness. Sit quietly. Feel the breath enter and leave your body. If your mind wanders, gently return to the breath. 2. Body scan. Lie down. Bring awareness to each part of your body, from head to toe. Notice sensations without judgment. 3. Walking meditation. Walk slowly. With each step, notice the contact of foot and earth. Match your pace to your breath. 4. Gratitude reflection. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Breathe into each one. 5. Loving kindness practice. Repeat kind phrases to yourself, then to others. Let the warmth of goodwill fill your heart. No perfection is required, only presence. Meditation has found its way into the corners of our lives, in classrooms and clinics, boardrooms and bedrooms. It is no longer confined to mountain caves or sacred halls. It is here. Wherever there is breath, there can be mindfulness. In the next chapter, we'll explore how this ancient practice is evolving in the 21st century through apps, digital retreats, and the growing global movement of inner peace. For now, simply rest. Feel the presence of your own quiet heartbeat. And know this: meditation belongs to you. The ancient world gave us the seed of meditation planted in silence, nurtured by centuries of seeking. Today, that seed blossoms in new forms. In the 21st century, meditation has not been lost. It has been reimagined and fused into pixels, woven into schedules, spoken in many languages. It is no longer a solitary path. It is a global movement. Let us explore how mindfulness moves through this modern age, and how, even in a world of noise, silence still finds its way home. 20 years ago, few people spoke of meditation in everyday life. Now, it is a household word. Search engines reveal millions of pages. Bookstores have entire shelves. The word mindful appears on menus, parenting guides, and product labels. But behind the popularity lies something real. More and more people are asking, how do I slow down? How do I reconnect? How do I find peace within the noise? Meditation, once the tool of monks and mystics, has become the medicine of the moment. In the palm of your hand, a new monastery exists. Meditation apps like Calm, Headspace, Insight Timer, 10% Happier, and Balance have introduced millions to mindfulness. They offer guided sessions for sleep, focus, and stress breathing exercises, soundscapes of rain, wind, and ocean. Meditations as short as 1-minute courses from monks, scientists, and therapists. With a single tap, the world softens. A voice enters the room. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Technology, once seen as the enemy of presence, becomes its ally. These apps meet people where they are in subways, lunch breaks, waiting rooms. They make ancient wisdom accessible to the modern seeker. Where once people traveled to mountain temples or remote cabins to retreat into silence, now they log in from home. The digital Sangha, a global meditation community, has flourished. Monasteries like Plum Village, Spirit Rock, and Insight Meditation Society now offer live-streamed Dharma talks, week-long silent retreats over Zoom, group meditations with participants across time zones, online mentorship, and community check-ins. A woman in Berlin sits in silence with a monk in Kyoto. A father in Kenya learns breathwork from a teacher in San Francisco. Boundaries dissolve. Stillness travels. Technology connects without crowding. In quiet connection, we remember that presence is not bound by geography. Even on platforms known for distraction, a new voice has emerged. Mindfulness creators share 1-minute meditations, gentle reminders to breathe, quiet poetry, read aloud. Breathwork tutorials, journaling prompts. Among the noise, small sanctuaries appear. A person scrolling late at night pauses at a video. If you're feeling anxious, just notice your breath for a moment. These short, sincere offerings ripple out. They are not perfect. They are human. And they are making stillness visible again. Meditation is no longer abstract. It lives in the stories of everyday people. David, a firefighter, uses breathwork before every shift. It helps me stay clear when the adrenaline hits, he says. Lena, a young mother, meditates for 5 minutes each night after putting her baby to sleep. It's my time to reconnect. Just me and my breath. Jorge, recovering from addiction, found stability through mindful walking. It gave me back control. One step at a time. Nina, living with chronic pain, uses body scan meditation to soften resistance. It doesn't take the pain away, she says, but it gives me space. These stories are not traumatic. They are true. Meditation is not about changing who we are. It is about meeting ourselves with presence, with kindness. Even as meditation enters new formats, its effects remain measurable. Neuroscience shows that guided digital meditations stimulate the same brain regions as traditional practice. Studies on app users report reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression, improved sleep quality, enhanced focus and attention, lower cortisol levels. One study found that just 10 days of using a mindfulness app significantly reduced stress and increased emotional resilience. In a fast-moving world, even 5 minutes of digital stillness can recalibrate the nervous system. The screen, once a source of tension, becomes a portal to peace. Meditation is also finding its voice in movements for justice and healing. Organizations like the Holistic Life Foundation, Liberate, and Radical Dharma bring mindfulness into conversations on race, trauma, and collective healing. In inner cities, schools introduce mindfulness to reduce violence. In refugee camps, trauma-informed meditation helps people process unimaginable experiences. Mindfulness is not just personal, it is communal. It asks, how do we listen? How do we respond without reacting? How do we stay present in discomfort? It becomes a tool for empathy, a practice of staying awake. As the digital world expands, many are returning to the natural world for grounding. Mindfulness today often includes forest bathing, slow, silent walks among trees earthing, connecting physically to soil or sand nature meditation, listening to birds, feeling the breeze. Silence retreats in rural spaces. In a century filled with screens, people long for embodied presence. Meditation is not just in the mind, it is in the body, the earth, the moment. Even without words, presence speaks. Modern mindfulness also brings new challenges. Commodification. Mindfulness marketed as productivity superficiality. Quick fixes over deep practice digital overload. Too many choices. Too little depth. Unrealistic expectations. Feeling like we must succeed at peace. We must return to the heart of the practice. Mindfulness is not another achievement. It is an invitation. One breath, one step, one moment of remembering what truly matters. The true power of 21st century meditation is not in the app or the retreat or the teacher. It is in the moment after. When you pause before speaking. When you notice a bird song on your commute. When you choose patience over hurry. When you remember to simply be. Modern meditation is not about escape. It is about arrival. As we look to the future, the breath remains, though the world may change, though new technologies rise and fall, though life unfolds in complexity and motion, the breath is always here, and so is the path. In the final chapter, we will offer a gentle invitation guidance for creating your own practice, resources, reflections, encouragement. For now, breathe. You are here. You are already enough. You've walked through temples of stone and circuits of the brain. You've heard the chants of sages and the voices of scientists. You've witnessed how ancient stillness flows into modern life. Now, the path bends toward you. Not to persuade, not to demand, but to invite. This chapter is for your breath, your story, your beginning. Every tradition speaks of thresholds, quiet moments before transformation. You may feel that now. A curiosity, a pull inward, a longing to explore what lies beneath the noise. And perhaps a voice of doubt arises. Am I doing it right? Can I really make time? What if I don't feel anything at all? Let us meet those thoughts with compassion, because mindfulness begins not with certainty, but with willingness. The willingness to pause, to be present, to begin, even imperfectly. To support your journey, consider creating a space for stillness, not grand or ornate, just intentional. Your space could be a corner of a room with a small cushion, a window seat with morning light, a spot under a tree in your garden, a chair beside your bed. You might include a candle or incense, a photograph or inspiring quote, a stone, feather or shell, a journal and pen. This space becomes a signal to your body, your breath, your being that you have arrived. That presence is welcomed here. But know this, you are the sacred space. Wherever you go, the practice goes with you. There is no single way to meditate. You may be drawn to breath awareness, sitting quietly, following the in-breath and out-breath. Body scan, gently moving awareness through each part of your body. Loving kindness, repeating kind phrases for yourself and others. Walking meditation, moving slowly, in rhythm with breath and footfall. Guided meditations, listening to a voice that leads you inward. Mindful journaling, reflecting with presence on thoughts, emotions, and gratitude. Movement practices, gentle yoga or qigong to bring mindfulness into motion. Let your intuition guide you. Try different forms. Listen for what brings you home to yourself. The strength of the practice lies in consistency, not duration. Start small. 1 minute of mindful breathing each morning. A pause before each meal. A gratitude reflection before sleep. You might gradually grow this to 10 minutes of breath meditation, a 20-minute body scan before bed, a once-weekly walk in silence. Set a time. Make it sacred. Let it become a ritual. And when you miss a day, return with gentleness. This is not a test. It is a relationship. What if I get distracted? Distraction is part of the practice. Notice it. Return. That's the meditation. What if I fall asleep? Then your body needed rest. Tomorrow, try sitting up or practicing earlier. What if nothing happens? The effects are quiet. Over time, your nervous system softens. Your awareness deepens. What if I'm not good at this? There is no good or bad in presence. Only practice. You do not need to walk this path alone. There are many who walk beside you. Seek out local meditation groups or mindfulness centers, online courses and retreat programs books by teachers like Thich Nhat Hanh, Pema Chödrön, Sharon Salzberg, Jack Kornfield, and John Kabat-Zinn. Apps such as Calm, Insight Timer, Headspace, or 10% Happier podcasts and YouTube channels with guided meditations. Let these resources hold you, especially in the beginning. But remember, the true teacher lives within. Each breath is a guide. Each moment is an opportunity to return. Eventually, the practice leaves the cushion. It follows you into the day. You breathe before sending a difficult message. You pause before reacting in frustration. You listen fully during a conversation. You walk slowly through the grocery store. You feel gratitude as sunlight warms your skin. Mindfulness becomes not what you do, but how you are. It weaves into the quiet, the chaos, the in-between. It becomes life, lived awake. Across the world, millions are rediscovering the sacred pause. They are saying, I choose presence over hurry. I choose compassion over judgment. I choose awareness over avoidance. This is not a loud movement. It does not shout or demand. It simply breathes. And in that breath, something ancient stirs. We are not creating something new. We are remembering something eternal. Inhale. Exhale. That rhythm has been with you since the beginning. It requires no effort, no belief, no perfection. Only attention. Each breath is a doorway. Each moment a chance to enter. Meditation is not an escape. It is a return to the body, the heart, the now. No matter how far you stray, the breath waits. Faithful, quiet, kind. You have listened. You have felt. You have arrived. There is nothing more to prove. Only a journey to begin. So take one breath. Let it be enough. And when you're ready, take another. Your presence is the greatest gift you can offer the world. Be here. Breathe here. Begin here. Ancient teaching